morning, and welcome to another Writer's Morning Commute with Ashton Gaskill. Thought I would just continue talking about Black Mirror, since that show is very good, and providing different stories every episode gives me a good excuse to keep talking about it. So, Season 4, Episode 2 is called Arkangel. We'll be getting into spoilers for that episode. The general premise is that this woman has a daughter who she kind of repeatedly becomes afraid of losing. Just kind of has typical parental anxieties over. And she decides to try this experimental program where the child gets a chip implanted in them, and the parent can use a paying attention to traffic, tablet computer to check in on them, where they're at, their location, their vital signs, and they can even see and experience life through their child's lens. So they can see what the child is seeing, hear what the child's hearing, so on and so forth. There were some interesting areas explored with that. It certainly wasn't just presented as if it was all bad. I think every parent would be happy to have the ability to know where their child is at all times, just in case they do go missing. So that initial premise was definitely an interesting one. It's kind of a combination of the idea of having your kid on a leash and having the chips, GPS chips implanted in your pets. So that as a starting point seemed interesting. One thing that I didn't like as much about the episode, though, was that it took quite a while to get to the actual story. At first you see her in labor and she's getting a C-section, and the child comes out but is really quiet, and the doctors seem worried. And we spend a few minutes there, but then the baby turns out to be fine. So, like, that whole opening sequence seemed kind of unnecessary to me, as it just kind of established, hey, she's worried about her child, but it's kind of something that I think most people would assume the parent would be. So that didn't really seem too necessary. It jumps forward to where the kid is at the park and sees a cat and then disappears. Now at that point, my wife and I both thought that there was going to be something about the cat, maybe, I don't know, some kidnapper who had a mechanical cat, or I don't know, something though. It just seemed like it was really putting a lot of weight on these other aspects. So when we find out that it was just, oh hey, she chased the cat and got lost, and there wasn't anything like more there, it seemed like another missed opportunity, or a wrongfully weighted moment of drama. But then we do get to her with the Arkangel program, and we see how she can blur out things that stress out her kid. So then her kid starts to kind of develop a complex emotional, where she's kind of becoming a bit of a emotionless person, and just having trouble growing into actual maturity. So then I thought, hey, that's what this is going to be about. She's going to become emotionally disconnected somehow, and this is all going to blow up because technology has replaced her natural human upbringing. But then no, it's actually back to the original creep factor of the technology itself, and her mom being a super helicopter, long, technical leash parent. Which is what it was ultimately about. And that was a fine story, and definitely one that, my wife and I saw the implications of early. when we saw the technology. But it just seemed weird that we kept going off on these other little, like it seemed like the story was going one way, but then it just suddenly wasn't about that. And then it was kind of looks like it was going that way, then it wasn't about that. And then eventually, oh, it was actually about that other one that we saw before. So just from a writer's perspective, it really just shows the importance of noting what your audience is expecting, the importance of beta readers or test audiences to see where they think things are going. Because if you're going to provide a bunch of things, like you can provide red herrings and ask questions of your audience that you don't fully explore, but if you're going to be implying that a story is going a certain way, it's usually good to have payoffs for those types of implications. And then also, spending all that time on taking steps down one path only to go a different way limits how much time you have on the path you ultimately do take. And I think this episode suffered because of that. I feel like there was the ending didn't quite feel as good as it could have been. I felt like we didn't have as much time to spend with the characters and their final age that the story wraps up on. And it would have been nice to be able to spend more time exploring that main storyline and getting connected to them. So hopefully that gives you some stuff to think about. Thank you for writing with me, and I hope you have a great day.